So what are we doing in the garden today? I got some tulip bulbs that I pulled out after they quit flowering and let them dry for a few days. And we're just going to clean them up and then put them in the fridge for a while and plant out next spring. So I kind of cleaned them up. There's some little pups and all kinds of little pups or suckers or whatever you call them here. I have no idea what I'm doing with tulips, but we'll see if it works. So these 8 or so tulips we bought on clearance at Walmart, I think for $2.99, like the day after Valentine's Day. You know, if they all the pups do well, it'll probably be about 20 different tulips I'll turn it into. So there it is. I just labeled it tulips. I'm not going to put a date on it because I'm just going to plant it out, you know, whenever. I'm going to read up a little bit, see when I plant them out, and just hope for the best. Yesterday I took a little saw on this big banana tree that had a lot of rot, and it still has some like fermentation here in it. But I cut it about a foot down after I seen a little bit of green growth in it. So it's already starting to push out some new growth. And most likely once this gets a nice little leaf system like this, I'm just going to take this sucker off of the main plant and put to our wetlands permaculture garden, the ex-goat run pen. So yeah, it's going to be a neat adventure. We'll see if bananas do okay there, or better I should say. The same area where I have the banana, I have this seedling citrus, probably an orange tree. I've debated whether to chop it down, move it, or just leave it where it was. So after talking to Natalie, she said just leave it. So I pruned a lot of the tips, the really nasty thorn tips off of it. I pruned some of the low limbs off, so it wouldn't like grab our hands and feet with those nasty thorns. And I don't know exactly how old this is, but maybe in a few years it'll produce something and hopefully good fruit. If not, then maybe we'll just chop it down later. Did a similar thing with this other little orange tree. It's probably been a few years old. I took the thorns and went close to the trunk. So I'm actually going to probably dig this up and put in the wetlands permaculture garden later. So I have quite a few pawpaw blooms on the biggest pawpaw tree I have, the Tennessee seedling. Probably a lot of males too right now, but the other pawpaws just aren't opening their flowers all the way yet, and getting ready to none of them are open and ready to be pollinated yet. So hopefully the NC1 will be open soon, and I can grab a male plant a few days after it opens and turns into a male flower, and get the pollen and come here and pollinate them. And then maybe just the NC1, the sunflower, and then see what happens with the panhandle seedling, and then try to pollinate it with either NC1 or sunflower. And then when NC1 and sunflower are both have flowers, and one of them or both have male flowers, I'll take the NC1 male and pollinate some of the females, and take the sunflower male and pollinate the NC1 females. Just a few on the NC1, since it's one of my grapefruit seedlings that has been struggling a lot out here, possibly because of the cold, possibly because of the flooding we get out here, possibly because of the root density. But I'm thinking the cultivar that this came from like a grocery store or whatever, is probably not super frost hardy. It's just not super happy. It's probably only about 5.5, 6 foot tall at most. It's had some dieback, so it was a little bit taller, as you can see. I'm going to be trimming all the dead stuff off of this, and we'll consider either moving it to the wetlands permaculture area to see if it does better there. If not, we might just let it go here and hope that it builds up more tolerance to the cold and stuff, and maybe even mount it up from the ground to see if it will promote higher root growth if it is wet feet. But I haven't really made a decision yet what we're going to do. So there we have it. I didn't trim like every thorn, but I got most of the dead stuff on it and stuff that looked kind of diseased. And yeah, it doesn't look much more than thin little stick with a few branches, but we're going to try our best to fertilize like every month here just to promote growth and all until we get into like the cooler weather. This fig tree, I'm definitely considering ripping out and maybe donating something, roots and all, to somebody, because it was bought as a black mission fig, and it's just like the normal like Celeste or something fig type, and mislabeling's happening all the time in nurseries and garden centers. Like we have some red navel oranges here, Cara, and my experience is that a lot of them will fall off before they ripen, but hopefully every year, and then we're doing a good fertilizer regimen, that they will produce more this year and more next year until we hopefully get like 200 or so on a tree. This is an unripe mayhaw, and if we look, you can see like some rust or something forming there, which is a big problem in this area. And I don't spray my trees, so this is kind of a question. You know, people say plant mayhaws in your wet area, but if it's not going to be productive because of this, and if I'm going to have to do extra maintenance and spraying on it, it may not be a tree that I want to, you know, spread out more, you know. Let's see. Here's another one. And they're kind of hard to see until they're ripe. And that one looks kind of nasty, so it could get like some kind of rust on it too. And this is the pollination it's getting is possibly from neighboring plants that are similar, like other hawthorn types. They don't look that great, do they? Blood orange is still flowering pretty well. It was kind of a late bloomer this season, and I'm not sure if that's normal, because I just come out here and look and say what trees blooming and when, you know, what trees are blooming now, you know. Get excited, especially when something new blooms, but obviously this one's been blooming for a while, and it's not a super big tree. It's finally starting to kind of bush out more. It's been like a straight stick with a couple branches, and you know, I'm doing, you know, with the fertilizer and stuff, trying to help promote more growth. You know, more growth means more areas for fruit later on. This is the red seedling, or pink, or whatever it is, that I planted like 15, 16 years ago. Nice blooms everywhere. Or if you recall, we had like 2 or 3 on it this year, or yeah, last year, and one of them fell early, and another one I think somebody might have stole, or it could have been an animal, I'm not sure. But I was also worried about like the color of the leaves not being nice and, you know, flush and green. But look here, we fertilized it, and we got some good green leaves coming out too. Maybe these old nasty leaves will just fall off. Look at this, look how nice this looks now. And hopefully in the next month or 2, it'll look really, really nice. Take a quick look at my Florida Panhandle seedling pawpaw tree. And it's hard, I'm looking right in the sun, but these flowers are nowhere near ready to open, so we can't pollinate them yet. Maybe in a week or 2, we'll have at least some level of pollination happening on this tree.